Above It All broadcast show in the YouTube show broadcast. Above It All, brought to you by Max the Dog. It's brought to you by Max the Dog. Look at this dog. Hello everyone, welcome to the Above It All broadcast experience today. And I'm doing a broadcast. I don't know if anyone knew. Is this thing on? Broadcast today. It's the Above It All show. Today is Thursday, everybody. Once again, I am taking Wednesdays off. I've been working on some side projects. And, yeah. So, doing a show. I got some coffee here today. I got some coffee. I got some seltzer today. And I'm going to be doing a show. It's the Above It All show Thursday edition. Today is Thursday for the Above It All program. The programmatic experiential show. Today is Thursday, everybody. I'm going to be talking about some news. We're going to be talking about news and politics. You know, they kind of go together sometimes. But so we got some politics and news on today's program. Today is Thursday, everybody. This is the Above It All show on Thursday. And it's Thursday. Second show Above It All program. More like brogram. Am I right? Where are the bros at today? Raise your hand. Anyway, got a show today. It's today. Joseph Robinette of the Biden family. He's actually the second Biden that has the name Joseph Robinette. The first one, not here anymore, needless to say. And there was actually a third one, also not here anymore. It appears that Joe Biden is the last Joe Biden. There were three of them. Now there's one of them. Last man remaining. But he is also the president of the United States. I'm not sure if you knew that. And I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to see them fuck this up. Because I know that they are. But this is good. Biden proposes junk fee bill to cut hidden fees for credit cards and concert tickets. A lot more is affected here than those two things, but let's keep reading here. President Joe Biden announced new progress Wednesday on his administration's competition agenda, specifically taking aim at junk fees while calling on Congress to pass legislation targeting hidden fees across multiple industries. Now, again, let's be honest here. Are Republicans going to pass this bill? I'd be shocked. I would be shocked to my core if Republicans pass this bill in the House, right? But depending, I can theoretically, if Joe Biden were to go on the offensive for the first time in his life, well, second time. The first time was when he was trying to stop Bernie Sanders from doing anything good for the country. But if Joe Biden were to go on the offensive for the second time in his life and say, what, Republicans want you to pay extremely large overdraft fees and late fees and, Why do Republicans want to steal working class money? Why do they want to, is he going to do that? I mean, we'll see. But as it stands, I am not too hopeful. But either way, let's keep reading here. What would this do? What would this fanciful piece of legislation that's not going to happen, unless it does, and I'd be shocked. But what is this going to do? Let's find out. These costs can, quote, drain hundreds of dollars a year from the pockets of hardworking American families, especially folks who are already struggling to make ends meet, but not anymore after today. Wait, what? But not anymore after today? I'd love to see like a video clip of that. I want to see how he said that aloud. Like, does Joe Biden remember like that you have to pass a bill through Congress? What do you mean not anymore after today? Sounds like it's going to keep happening. In fact, it might even happen tomorrow, dare I say. The proposed legislation, in partnership with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, called the Junk Fee Protection Act, would target 4 types of excessive fees. Excessive online concert, sporting event, and entertainment ticket fees. Airline fees for families sitting together on flights. Exorbitant early termination fees for TV, phone, and internet services. Surprise resort and destination fees. I love that. You ever like try to book a hotel and they try to get to the top of the list? Oh yeah, our hotel, it's only $40 a room. Or $40 a night for a room. But also, it's the little thing we got a resort fee. We have a pool. It's mandatory. You can't opt out of the pool, right? But we do have a pool, and a resort fee is actually $130. But the room itself is $40. Don't worry about the room. It's $40, but the resort fee, which is mandatory. You ever see this shit? Happens all the time. In brief remarks before the meeting, Biden had called out credit card late fees in particular as a junk fee if there ever was one, saying the new guidance from CFPB would reduce these fees. Today's rule proposes to cut these fees from $31 on average to $8. He added that change is expected to save tens of millions of dollars for Americans, roughly $9 billion a year in total savings. Biden called on Congress to pass the junk fee legislation, saying it would give hardworking Americans blah, blah, blah. Now, again, are Republicans going to pass this? Right? No. So anyway, let's move on. Just finished my morning chores, bottle feeding a 3-day-old calf that probably weighs over 100 pounds. This is what I say when I read about 3-day-old calves. My response, moo! That's my response. You've been a little antisocial lately. I'm antisocial all the time. I got a text message on my phone. 3 months. Haven't responded. I mean, it's probably never going to happen at this point, but I'm also antisocial. Frank the Tank. Are you going to murder him, Farm? Are you going to fucking murder that precious baby? What the hell are you doing? Anyway. Yeah. See, Courtney? You got nothing on me. This is the Fresh Olympics in anti-socialism. Speaking of being antisocial, that's fucking gross, Pharmanistopheles. I'm sorry, but that's just nasty shit. Anyway, So, I got a couple questions. I got actually one question here. Is it too little, too late to start caring about the pandemic again, as Joe Biden has signaled that the pandemic is over several months ago, before the worst surge that we've had in the country? He said it was over. A couple months later, thousands of people die. Interesting. But Joe Biden has said that the pandemic is over and that he is ending the national public health emergency in May. So my question is it too little, too late? Should we have been talking about the pandemic for, I don't know, the last 5 months? Well, too little, too late doesn't mean that it's not good at all. So I've got this tweet here from Congress woman Rashida Tlaib, who was talking on the House floor about COVID. I want to play this clip here. But once again, my question is it too little, too late to start talking about COVID, as Joe Biden has signaled that COVID is over and that the public health emergency is disappearing? Should maybe we have done this months ago? Hey, I'm just saying, I'm asking questions here. But they also say better late than never. So let's see.
Mr. Speaker, in the state of Michigan, there has been over 16,000 COVID-19 cases just in this month.
Now, what Rashida Tlaib should say is that because of Joe Biden's offensive and disgusting CDC policies, that 16,000 is a severe, we're talking like probably less than half, maybe less than a quarter of the actual cases, because no one tests anymore. And the people that do test don't report their data to the CDC. They take a test at home and go, and then they post about it on Twitter, and there's no data collection, right? So 16,000 is a significant undercount. Again, that's Joe Biden's CDC who's in charge of that one. Just throwing that out there.
Nearly 200 people have died. Death and illness and viruses should not be politicized. In both our Wayne and Oakland counties, we are still seeing nearly 3,000 cases per week.
Once again, severe undercount. Severe undercount. There's a lot of charts that you can find online comparing wastewater data to reported cases. Now, wastewater data is, of course, they analyze shit in the sewer systems. It's a little, you can't really analyze it in real time. You have to wait a couple weeks to get, so whatever the wastewater data is usually like around a week old minimum. But according to wastewater data versus reported cases, it's a significant delta right now because, again, no one tests. And also, even if you do test positive, you're probably not going to report it to the CDC. You're going to download an app and report that to the government? No, you're not. You're going to talk about it on Twitter or whatever, and it's going to go into the void, right? So I wish Rashida Tlaib would talk about that. But either way, again, better late than never.
So the pandemic is far from over. We have residents being hospitalized and families having to say goodbye to their loved ones because of this deadly virus. This pandemic is not over. The pandemic is still preventing people from going to work, school, disrupting everyday lives. By ending resources and policies that have surely saved lives, we are leaving our residents and communities out to fend for themselves. They cannot do this alone. We must continue to provide resources to combat COVID-19, also the impacts of long COVID, from testing to treatment and care. We can continue to save lives together. Continuing to provide resources is not only the right and sensible thing to do, it is the moral thing to do. Please, again, we must vote no on H.R. 382. Thank you, and I yield.
So anyway, I wish that the squad had been talking about COVID for the last 6 months. I do think it's very questionable that politicians, hell, even Bernie Sanders, that make their identity known on Medicare for All are somehow just very silent when it comes to COVID. Again, only 17% of Americans have gotten their booster shot, which is updated to meet the currently popular variants going on in the country. Getting a shot 2 years ago for a variant that doesn't exist anymore isn't going to provide that much protection. So I do think it's a little strange that they have been very silent on this. You know, they talk about it here and there. It is true that, you know, they haven't been completely silent, but again, it is too little too late. It's already over. Like, this is what I've been saying is, you know, again, if you have constructed a house of cards, right, and then it starts to collapse, it's over. You can't, there's no, like, you know, if you blow on it in just the right way, it'll, you know, it'll stay, you know, up there. You know, if you know, I don't know, use gusts of wind from your hands and flap it. The house of cards, once it starts falling, it's already falling. And so, it's already falling. It's already over. It's done. Like, COVID is going to kill millions of people in the next couple of years here. And that's it. The government, Democrats, have signaled that they don't give a fuck. That's just how it is. So I wish Rashida Tlaib were to have been talking about this for the last couple of months. That's my, you know, constructive feedback for her. But and I also wish that she would have talked more about long COVID, and as well as the fact that the case numbers are a significant undercount. But again, I think it's good to signal and boost when people in government are acknowledging the facts of COVID. That's important. It's important to know that these people are aware of this. Everyone in the House is going to hear these words. Joe Biden knows these things. And they're just going to say, we don't care. And really, again, it boils down to the fact that Americans fundamentally, and I say this, and I know this may be, you know, I don't know, it might be extreme, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say it anyway. Americans, broadly, deserve it. Americans deserve to die from a plague. Let's be honest. This country is garbage. We elected shitty fucking goddamn politicians, and we have been for decades. Let's be real. Does every single American deserve to die? No, of course not. But the American electorate, on average, absolutely. Absolutely, we deserve this fucking shit. We deserve it. We do. America deserved 9/11, and America certainly deserves COVID-19, because this country is a train wreck. The people that live here are selfish, narcissistic morons, and they voted for leaders, so-called, that pointed the gun directly at them and pulled the trigger. So it's too late. It's too late for America. It's already over. So I say that I'm glad that some politicians are talking about it. I wish they would have been for the last couple of months. But hey, whatever. There you go. $70 czars from Elon. Happy birthday to Courtney. Facebook friend request. Can we get Biden singing happy birthday to someone? Do I still have that?
Congratulations. Sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alvin.
It's perfect. It's perfect because you never know who he's singing to. But also, Courtney's birthday is in December, apparently. Yeah, I'm victim blaming. Absolutely. 100%. Doing a show today. Today is Thursday. I'm taking a break from talking about police shootings right now, because I know everyone else is doing that and I don't need to. So, anyway, I need more coffee, man. Holy shit, I'm losing it. So the College Board in Florida is, well, needless to say, they don't really have that much of a spine going on. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, for those of you that don't know, issued the, the Department of Education or something of Florida to ban AP African American Studies. Now, AP is Advanced Placement, where you can earn early college credits. I think the whole thing is a scam, let's be honest. Like, this whole advanced placement to earn, quote unquote, earn early college credit. I mean, that whole thing is whatever. But anyway, Ron DeSantis essentially wants to ban people from learning about Black history during Black History Month. And what did the College Board have to say about this? Well, U.S. Black History syllabus has been changed after Florida woke claims. This is from the BBC. I always like reading non-American outlets when covering these kind of subjects because I just want to see what other countries have to say about this kind of stuff. A U.S. high school curriculum on African American history has been revised after conservative critics complained it amounted to woke indoctrination. Florida Republicans argued that a draft version of the new advanced level course lacked educational value. The U.S. College Board released the official syllabus on Wednesday, removing some of the disputed subject matter. The National Black Justice Coalition, a civil rights organization, called the revisions disturbing. This is a story, I might cover it tomorrow, but I want to mention this now. In Virginia, the Virginia Department of Education for the state, what they did is they erased all mentions of fascism from the curriculum. So they literally Control F, fascism, delete. So there's multiple instances now in the Virginia updated curriculums where you see double spaces in random sentences where the word fascist used to be. And again, they didn't replace it with anything, right? They didn't even check to ensure that the sentences that had the fascist word in it would make sense without that word. They just replaced it all, and then they're going to print that in textbooks. So, this is the state of our country. You're not allowed to learn that Nazis were fascist. Can't do it. Not in Virginia. You're not allowed to learn that black people actually, they have a history. And, well, needless to say, it's not very good. And needless to say also that there's another group of people that facilitated that very ungood history, but you're not allowed to talk about that in school. It's woke. You're woke. I have a question to anybody who's in high school listening to my show. Here's a thought experiment for you. Maybe you can do this. Go to school, if you live in Florida, and just take a nap. Like I'm saying, kick your feet up on the chair in front of you. Take a nap. Your teacher might ask you why you're napping in school, telling you to wake up, and you might say, hey, I'm taking a nap. You want me to become woke? Well, don't make me call the governor. I mean, seriously, though, I can't. It blows my mind, and again, it makes sense, right? This is the cycle of America. Americans are fucking morons. They vote for fucking morons that defund education, which creates a new generation of fucking morons that vote for even dumber morons that even further defund education. That creates another generation of even dumber, dumb fuck morons that vote for even dumber, dumb fuck politicians, and the cycle repeats. The administration of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican hotly tipped for the 24 White House race, announced last month that the draft version of the new AP course would not be taught in the state's high schools. Education Commissioner Manny Diaz Jr. called the syllabus woke indoctrination masquerading as education. Well, Or is there like you ever notice these people they just say woke? Again, I want to cite that Family Guy clip where Lois Griffin goes in front of the stage and just says 9/11 and the whole crowd cheers. Like, all they need to do woke. And then everyone is like, right? Like, that's the crowd. You ever see these Ron DeSantis rallies? Like, I'm serious, man. These people are nuts. They're freaks, dude. They're fucking freaks, okay? They're creatures of another world, right? They're like the aliens in They Live. Like, seriously. It's insane. And they never explain why. He released a chart listing the state's objections to the class, arguing that it violated state law and was filled with critical race theory. So it's woke because it's filled with critical race theory. But again, what's the woke part? The critical race theory is the woke part, but they haven't defined critical race theory either. So, what? What? The College Board pared back discussion of intersectionality and removed altogether sections entitled The Movement for Black Lives and Black Struggle in the 21st Century. Because there is no black struggle in the 21st century. Black people, of course, we all were taught this in school because our education system is already trash. When I went to school, you know what they told me? Martin Luther King solved racism. And that's why he has a holiday. Because he fixed it. He went out there and said, I have a dream. And then everyone else was like, damn, that's a good dream. And then they fixed racism. That's the entire mantra of the Republican Party, is that racism is not real. There is no racism. Not only is there no systemic racism, but there's no cultural racism. And if anybody is racist, it's actually not Republicans. It's the Democrats. Now, my contention is both parties are racist. But of course, again, if you were to use a sliding scale, Republicans are much more racist than Democrats on average. But again, they can't say that because that's woke. That's woke. Following objections from Florida, the organization also expunged left-wing black authors Kimberly Crenshaw, Bell Hooks, and Ta-Nehisi Coates. Sections on Black Lives Matter and slavery reparations have been removed from the exam and are now optional projects, while a new section on black conservatism has been added. So they removed ostensibly left-wing authors, but they added a chapter on black conservatism. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It is quite literally a 1984 situation here. Anyway, the College Board argued it was uninfluenced by Florida Republicans and had made the changes to the course before Mr. DeSantis. Okay, if this part is true, I mean, let's be honest, lock them up. These motherfuckers belong in jail. Like, you can't be at the College Board, by the way, whatever the fuck that is, and be thinking this kind of shit, man. like they want us to be like, no, like, okay, this is them. They're like, no, we're not doing this because Ron DeSantis called us woke. We added the chapter on black conservatism and removed all left-wingers because we thought it was a good idea. Quote, "The fact of the matter is that this landmark course has been shaped over years by the most eminent scholars in the field, not political influence." Now, obviously that's not true. But goddamn, I mean, we live in the hell world. We live in a shitty fucking country. A shitty, shithole, shit-encrusted, shit country? But whatever. Nothing's gonna change. Andrew Kohler, $5 super chat. Curious, MLK got assassinated less than 5 years after he fixed racism with the I Have a Dream speech. That's what happened. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Martin Luther King Jr., step one, he had a dream. You know, you got to mention that part. Step two, he told people about his dream. Step three, Congress unanimously voted to end racism. Step four, Martin Luther King Jr. went on vacation. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. You ever read a history book? 10-year anniversary of Christopher Dorner. That's great news. How is this shit legal? Because the law is corrupt. God damn it. Oh. Y'all, I've been streaming quite frequently on twitch.television. If you haven't, you should consider giving me a follow. I've been doing 2 streams a day. One in the morning and one after this show. So if anybody wants to come in and check it out. Yesterday I was streaming some Doom. It was very high. And I was like basically rambling nonstop about politics. So for those of you that don't like watching my Twitch streams because I talk about games too much, you missed a banger. We were talking about cars. We were talking about the human consciousness. Talking about drugs. You know? I'm just throwing that out there. You missed a banger. You know, you missed a really good stream. So that's your fault, and you should feel bad. But don't make the same mistake 2 times in a row. So follow me on twitch.television. And I'm going to be streaming probably. I want to take a walk after this show. And, you know, I got more news, by the way. I'm not ending the show. I'm just doing like a mid-roll advertisement for myself. Yeah, but I want to take a walk and all that stuff, and then do the video uploads and all that stuff. But I'll probably be streaming again on Twitch by 1 o'clock p.m. Maybe earlier if I get done, but I don't want to rush. Yeah, so just throwing that out there. Feel free to check it out or don't. I have a question. Would people want me to like upload a video on YouTube? You know, like, you know, you ever see these things? This is old school, but like you upload a YouTube video that's like 10 seconds saying like, hey, I'm streaming on Twitch, and then you delete it after the stream is over. Is that annoying? Would that help people, I mean, that don't use Twitch often, keep up? Like, is that something that anybody would like? For those of you that don't like it, is it annoying? Is it too annoying? I'm not sure. But, you know, just asking questions here. It is extremely cold. That is true. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the vaccine mandate rant. Yeah. And we're talking about pornography addiction. I've been doing some research on pornography addiction. This is one of my new subjects of fascination that I've been studying in my spare time. And, you know, my opinion is I think everybody should really take a step back and think about what kind of pornography they consume. Because we were talking about that, like, AI deepfake porn thing. That's a whole can of worms, man. That's some crazy ass shit. That's some crazy ass shit. But anyway, I think I personally, I'm getting, as I grow older, I am getting more and more anti-porn. But it's not like porn as a concept. I have no problem with porn as a concept. I just think the availability of it is the problem. You know, like pornography magazines, pretty good deal. You know, you got a magazine, you got 1, you got 5, you got 10. But, you know, when it comes to the internet, man, that's some crazy shit. So anyway, I've been doing research into that. So I was talking about my thoughts on that yesterday. But anyway, enough about porn. Well, Courtney, I was just saying, like, historically speaking, you know what I mean? Like, that was more popular beforehand. But, like, when you compare the popular forms of consumption 30 years ago versus now, or 50 years ago versus now, right? Like, now, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's a huge problem. I mean, I really do. But anyway, you also see polls where it's like, 1, incels are extremely, you know, they're on the rise. They're getting more popularity. 2, Generation Z is the generation that is having the lowest sex out of any generation. Has anyone seen these fucking polls? Like, I saw there was a headline I saw a couple months ago that was like, Generation Z is more depressed and doing less drugs and having less sex than millennials. And it's like, well, I mean, I got some cures for depression for you. Sex and drugs. So, you know, anyway, things are getting really bad here. I also, I've been studying about how, you know, I don't know about studying. I've been reading a couple things a day, but I think the average age that a human in America is exposed to explicit hardcore pornography is around 10 or 11. Which I don't know about you, but not good. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think that that's bad. But anyway, enough about porn. I don't want to talk about porn. I want to talk about something more serious. Or less serious, depending on, I'm not sure. Okay. So, it appears that this is, I don't know, this feels like it hasn't, you know, I don't know the context of this story quite yet. There's not many details that are coming out, but we're entering an era of either attempted, right, you know, with January 6th, or in that story in New Mexico, or a Republican hired assassins to try to kill like a Democratic lawmaker that beat them in a race or something. But we're entering an era of political assassinations, folks, and violence on politicians. New Jersey councilwoman shot and killed in possible targeted attack outside of her home. Now, again, I don't live in New Jersey, and I don't know this politician. I also don't know the events surrounding this assassination. There's not that much detail that has come out about this yet. But what I do know is that politicians getting shot and killed in the streets, you know, it feels like that is on the rise. You know, it definitely feels like that's on the rise. And it's always not in the best possible way. Like, you know, anyway, it's on the rise. A 30-year-old woman found fatally shot in her Sayreville townhouse complex has been identified by local officials as Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor. She was shot while inside her white SUV, which appears to have then crashed on Samuel Circle at around 7:22 p.m. last night. Now, I don't know if this was... it appears that this is a story from this morning, so this happened yesterday evening, as of my show day. She sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. She lived in the townhouse complex where she was killed just steps from her home. She preliminarily appears to have been the target of the gunfire, but a motive for the shooting was not immediately disclosed. Mahesh Chitnis, who serves as Sayreville's Human Relations Commission, posted on Facebook that the victim, who was also his neighbor, was killed 300 feet from my home. Quote, she was shot while returning back home. She was a woman full of life. Hours later, her SUV was towed away by police, who did not say if a suspect was identified or if an arrest was made. Dwumfor was elected to the council in 2021 and worked as a business analyst and part-time EMT. Quote, I am stunned by the news of Sayreville Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor's murder last evening in an act of gun violence, said New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy in a statement released on Thursday morning. Her career of public service was just beginning, and by all accounts, she had already built a reputation as a committed member of the Borough Council who took her responsibility with the utmost diligence and seriousness. I send my condolences to the family, blah, blah, blah. So again, we don't really know any details about this. Could be for a multitude of reasons. It could be politically motivated. It could be, someone not liking that someone that they knew is successful or being successful. There's all kinds of reasons why someone would want to murder someone. You go from a normal person to you're extremely famous and everyone knows who you are, and you might have enemies that might want to target you. But it's also very possible it could be politically motivated. We don't really know. But again, it just feels like we're really entering that new era of political assassinations in this country. And it's a little scary, and I'm not gonna lie. Now I don't necessarily think that politicians getting shot and killed is anything worse really than what the police do to the citizens of this country on a daily basis. But again, we are entering a little bit of a Wild West scenario here. Again, we have right-wing freaks breaking into Nancy Pelosi's home to try to kill her and her husband, but she wasn't there. We've got that guy in New Mexico, the Republican, who tried to hire hitmen against the person who beat them in a race. We got January 6th as a big example. And so, again, I don't necessarily think politicians are above anyone else, but I do think that politicians, more often than not, being in the crosshairs, and they look like they're getting killed a lot more often, or at least almost getting killed, or getting shot at, or welcome to America. I mean, I don't know. This is the country that you created. And so, but again, obviously not all of these politicians are responsible for that. And I don't know anything about this councilwoman. But I'm just saying, we're entering a very interesting phase of American society. So we'll see where this goes. But definitely going to keep my eyes on that one, because I want to see some more details if they emerge. Hello, user. How's it going? Damn, that's some crazy ass shit. Talking about from going 0 to fucking 60. Jesus. Hi, Max. Got a Max dog here. Oh, he's being a dog. Hi, Max. He's circling me. He's circling me. It's over for me now. He's sniffing my foot. Got a program today. A show. Check this out. Hello, letter hack. Yeah, I mean, definitely like political or politician threats have definitely increased for sure. But, there's definitely a big delta between threats and actually killing people, So like, but, rising tide raises all boats or whatever. So it's crazy living in the United States of America. Entire political campaigns. Imagine this, right? What is a political campaign? You are running to become a politician, right? What is a politician? Someone who crafts legislation and governs the people, you know. But like, we have entered a war of a culture war in America, where there is an entire political party, I'm talking about the Republican Party, that they don't govern. Like, they are principally opposed to governing. They don't craft policy. They don't do legislation, you know. They don't do anything other than signal their support for a genocide of minority groups. You know, in 2020, they wanted to commit a genocide against Black Americans. In 2022, they switched over to transgender and gay Americans. Now, again, they still want to commit a genocide against Black Americans. They're just not talking about it as much. 2022 had the most police murders of any year in this country. But either way, think about, I just want to show a picture real quick. Let me go get this. Think about what has happened in this country since 2016. Right? Does anyone remember this? Does anyone remember this photo? This was a photo from either 2015 or 2016 of Donald Trump, Republican candidate. I think this was at the Republican convention, was it not? Holding up a flag, a pride flag, upside down, saying LGBT to the power of S for Trump. This was in 2016. Donald Trump said he was the most pro-gay, pro-trans president ever elected. And they campaigned on that as if it was a good thing. This is 2016. Well, now it is 2023. And Donald Trump has released a campaign update on what he wants to do with transgender people if elected as president. Let's watch.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this?
So I love that he says, can you believe this? Because none of that is true. Puberty blockers do not mutate anybody. Puberty blockers were, again, invented for not trans people, cisgender people. There is a couple of conditions that affect children's bodies that result in early puberty. Kids have been documented theoretically going through puberty at the age of 6 or 7. Their bodies are too young, and it can cause major health complications to be flooded with puberty hormones when you're that young. So they invented puberty blockers, and they are completely reversible. Now, if you're on puberty blockers from age, let's say, 12 to 48, yeah, maybe there could be some problems. No one is taking puberty blockers from age 12 to 48. That's not happening. No one is taking puberty blockers from 12 to 16. That's not happening. Usually people take puberty blockers for a couple of years and make a decision on whether or not it's working for them, right? And then guess what happens? Wait for it. You stop the puberty blockers and then start hormone therapy, right? None of this is mutilation, right? If kids can purchase guns, if kids can drive cars, kids can decide what gender they are. It's not that hard, right? But again, Donald Trump went from this, LGBT to the power of S for Trump, to this, a 2-minute manifesto about how he wants to eradicate transgender people from existence. And we're only 30 seconds in.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal...
Note that he says at any age. As if to imply like 3-year-olds are getting sex changes. In many states in this country, mostly Republican states, child marriage is legal. Parents can essentially sell their children into marriages in multiple states in this country. So when we talk about grooming, right, as a country, as a culture, we're in the culture war, everybody. When we talk about grooming, I don't know, man. If I were running for office and grooming was my major concern, I would probably start with eradicating all child marriage laws. You think, right? Maybe. I would start there.
Federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures, and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly.
So, I have a question. Does child sexual mutilation include circumcision? As a country, we have decided that anyone born with a penis must get their dick chopped off as kids. Sometimes within a couple of days, sometimes within a couple of weeks. They will take children that have dicks and cut them off. It's called circumcision. They say, God told me to cut my kid's dick off, or some shit. Right? This happens every day in America. God was speaking to me and Jesus Christ, amen, told me to cut my dick off, or my kid's dick off, at the age of 3 hours old. Why don't Republicans talk about circumcision? I'm just curious. Like, if we're talking about mutilation, you know, just throwing that out there. Speaking of grooming, Donald Trump bragged on live television and radio interviews about watching 13-year-old and 14-year-old girls take their clothes off at beauty pageants, child beauty pageants that he hosted. He would watch the children take all of their clothes off and put on their magical dresses or whatever the fuck. He bragged about doing that on live radio and television interviews, saying things like, that's one of the benefits of hosting the pageant, is you get to go anywhere you want, including children's dressing rooms. And this guy is concerned about grooming.
I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable.
So is he going to go after Big Pharma over the, I don't know, opioid crisis? What about insulin? Is he going to go after Big Pharma for SSRIs? Nah. Just transgender people. I mean, again, this is some crazy ass shit. I don't know what to tell y'all. Crazy ass shit. Donald Trump, who was very good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, is now trying to be a crusader to defend children. But again, it's not about children. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about any of this. This is why Donald Trump in 2016 held up this flag, LGBT to the power of S for Trump. Because that was popular in 2016. In 2016, this gained him votes. In 2023, this gains him votes. What's the similarity? He's doing it for attention. He doesn't have any beliefs. But obviously Republicans know that. And Republicans, they love this shit. Republicans, this is a fact. If this makes you uncomfortable, that's not my fault. Republicans are the party of genocide. That's what they are. They advocate for genocide, and that's it. They don't advocate for any other policy at all. None. Zero. They don't care about, literally anything. I mean, like food safety, like, for example, like infrastructure. They don't care about it. They don't care about like our sewage systems, our water systems. They don't care about our air quality. They don't care about making sure our trains run on time. They only care about executing a genocide of minority groups. That's it.
We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of...
They're no way licensed or approved for this use. What does that mean? Like, could he explain that? Or, I know he's just reading off a teleprompter, right? But they're not licensed or approved? What does that mean? You can go and get hormones at an informed consent clinic. They've been studied for decades. We know what the results are. Now, again, if you want to say that we don't know enough, I agree. We don't know enough about any kind of drug. Look at SSRIs, for example. We don't know enough about how they affect the brain. Does that mean we should ban them? So, yeah, if we want to fund more studies, I'm down. If Donald Trump were to say, I'm going to pause all transition healthcare and then put $500 million into funding all the research so we know what this does, and then, at the end of that 2-year period, we'll, that would be a different story. But it's not about that. It's not about, we got to find out the truth of what happens. They don't care about the truth, okay? Literally, the only possible thing they care about here is executing a genocide against minority groups. That's it. That's it. They just lie. It doesn't matter. So when they say hormones aren't approved to be used in transition, they're just lying. They're lying. When they say the effects of this have not been studied, they're lying. It's a lie. Again, what color is this pen? This pen is actually blue. If you think it's anything else, you're wrong. How many fingers am I holding up? The answer is 2. If you think anything else, you're wrong. This is 1984 shit, man. I don't know what to tell you. He's just lying. It's a lie. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination.
So anyway, there's probably more of this, but I don't care. Anyway, we're fucked. And again, just to be very clear, it's not in the good dick way. 2 + 2 = 3, my friends. If I say it, it must be true. It must be true. If it wasn't true, why would I say it? But again, Americans, they're just dumb. Like, I need you to understand, Republicans especially, they are dumb, hateful freaks. That's what they are. I don't know what to tell you. They don't do research. They don't look into this stuff. They don't care. They don't talk to people that have transitioned. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. And again, even Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck. 2 cycles ago, he was the biggest pro-gay, pro-trans president we've ever seen. He got elected and then started banning transgender people from the military, etc., etc. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. Anyway. Whatever. He'll probably win the election because he's up in the polls against Biden. And Biden is probably going to run because he's a fucking narcissist. And we're probably going to have to deal with this. So everyone, take your hat off for America. It's a great country. The best country. 2 + 2 = 5? I don't think so, Andrew Kohler. I thought 2 + 2 = 4. But hey, that's just me. Anyway, that's pretty much my show for today, folks. Oh man. I'm getting a good stretch in. Oh my god. My goddamn skeletal spinal muscle feels good. Yeah, the Truth Israel, that'll get him. Yeah, that'll stop Donald Trump from doing what he's doing. Don't vote. That'll get him. Yeah, we vote for fucking Joe Jorgensen. That'll get him. So stupid. Hey, Macaroni. It was an oversight. My apologies. Still holding on to this pen. Yeah, Truth Israel, if you still think voting, like, I don't know, man, this is like level 1 of understanding politics, right? Like, level 0 is thinking one party is actually fighting for you and the other is demons from hell. Level 2 is, or like level 1 is like, both parties are bad. Like, you're there. Like, you are here. Like, the rest of this chat, we're way, way, way further on than you in that journey, but I wish you luck in your political awakening. But yeah, voting, not voting is not a statement. Voting third party is not a statement. They don't care. Like, they don't care. And so discussing that in any context as if it actually matters, I mean, I'm serious. Like, the only thing that would actually enact political change is mass mobilization and organization. That's it. Like, voting third party doesn't do anything. I mean, I'm serious. Like, Ross Perot got like 20% of the vote in 1992. How many electoral votes did he get? 0. Voting is irrelevant. Supporting the establishment is also not helpful. Bro, what are you doing? What is this? What is this game? I'll play your game. All right, I'll play. All right. Supporting the establishment. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, I'm serious. When you say supporting the establishment, can you define what that means? Why not mass organize behind a decent candidate? We did. Bernie Sanders. He lost. How did he lose? Because the game was rigged against him. So, tried it. Didn't work. Next. Maybe we should rally around, I don't know, instead of a candidate, a political issue? Maybe? Supporting the establishment is defined as the establishment screwing over Bernie? What? First of all, who is we? We still voted for them. Again, you're placing so much power in voting that isn't there. Like, how you perceive voting in relation to politics is not correct. Really, again, voting when it comes to things like president, next to irrelevant, right? Voting in local elections, actually important. So when you say things like vote third party as like a definitive final statement, right? What does that mean? Do you mean vote third party in every election? Up and down the ballot? What if there is no third party option for like the comptroller of your state? Do you mean just vote third party for president? Like, what does vote third party mean? And what does that accomplish? All right, you're going to vote for third party, right? Then what? Because that's the thing, is that like my first election was 2016. I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary, and I voted for Jill Stein in the general election. I lived in Maryland, so it didn't matter. I voted third party. I believed whatever you're saying. Like, again, when I was 19 years old, I was right there with you, bro. But I'm not 19 years old anymore. Like, I voted third party. And then what happened? Jill Stein did a bunch of fundraisers to do an election recount. Didn't even end up doing it. Walked out with the cash. And then Howie Hawkins comes around, rigs the Green Party election. Did you know the Green Party in 2020 primary was rigged? They wouldn't let anyone else on the ballot besides Howie Hawkins. So these third parties that you're advocating for, they're just as corrupt as the Democratic Party. Howie Hawkins rigged the Green Party primary in 2020 so that no one else would show up on the ballot. You know, and all 400 people that vote in each state, they only were able to vote for Howie Hawkins. So I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not 19 anymore. And, you know, it's interesting that you're still in that headspace, but I really suggest, like, and I'm not here to tell you what my solution is. I'm here to tell you I don't have a solution. But if you're saying that voting third party is the solution, I'm telling you that's wrong. Like, you need to prove it. Because people voted third party in 1992, 0 electoral votes. 20% of the popular vote, 0 electoral votes. People voted third party in 2000, nothing happened. The Green Party just started running 9/11 truthers a couple cycles after. People voted third party in 2016. Then what happened? Joe Biden became the nominee in the next cycle. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, literally decades of history, even before I was born, to indicate that your strategy is not a strategy. It's not working. So, it's about waking up the Democrats that they must support progressive policies or they don't win elections anymore. Well, okay. Have you considered the fact that Democrats don't give a shit if they lose elections? Like, okay. Let's go back to history again. This is a history lesson for you. They tried that. They tried it. In the 1970s, in the 1980s, progressives did your strategy. What happened? Ronald Reagan. We had 12 years of Ronald Reagan, right? Democrats got shredded. People abandoned the Democratic Party. 12 years. So who rose out of the ashes in the Democratic Party after they tried that strategy? Bill Clinton. Third way. I'm a new Democrat. I'm not like those old Democrats that are so progressive. I'm not like those old Democrats that love the welfare state. No, I'm a new Democrat. So we tried that strategy in the 1970s and 80s. Didn't fucking work. I don't know what to tell you. It didn't work. We tried it in the 90s. Didn't work. Tried it in the aughts. Didn't work. Tried it in the 10s. Didn't work. Tried it in 2020. Some people didn't fucking work. It's not working. But you know what did work? Primaries in congressional districts. Look at AOC, for example. Now, we can criticize AOC. I don't mind doing that. I'll do it every day. But that did work on their first try. The first fucking try. They got it on the first try. Green Party, they have failed to even move the needle for 30 years. Justice Democrats won an election on their first try. So, I don't know what you're on, but I hope that you can move on past this, because that's like, it's QAnon tier conspiratorial thinking to believe that the Democratic establishment gives a fuck about whether or not you vote for them. Like, they don't care. Like, I need you to understand this. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. You think Nancy Pelosi cares if she gets 80% of the vote or 74% of the vote? She doesn't care. You think Joe Biden gives a fuck if he wins an election or not? He doesn't care. They don't care. Democrats would prefer being in the minority because they make more money from fundraising, which they can pocket a lot of, by the way, when they're in the minority. They don't care. I need you to understand this. Now, would they prefer to win for the, the reputational gains? Yes. But they like Plan B just as much as they like Plan A. I need you to get this through your fucking skull. Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, they don't give a fuck if they're in the minority or the majority. What has Chuck Schumer done with the Senate majority? Nothing. What did Nancy Pelosi do with the House majority? Nothing. They don't care. They don't care. The Truth Israel, again, voting is irrelevant. They don't fucking care how you vote. They don't fucking care. Whether you vote for them, Howie Hawkins, Joe Jorgensen, whatever, you write in Harambe, they don't care. They don't give a shit. Not only, now imagine this, right? This is what it means to not care. Is you look at data and then don't change your mind based on the data. They're not even looking at the data. So not only do they not care, but they don't even have the capability of caring, because this loop that you're in, this conspiratorial thinking, this loop that you're trapped in, they literally don't give a fuck about it. They don't look at the data. They don't look at the numbers. They don't care to even think about what you're basing your entire political revolution on. They just don't give a shit. The only way to affect political change, unionizing, organizing, mass mobilization. And you know what? That's not going to happen. So I don't know what to tell you, but your strategy is a flop. It's not working. So either you can keep trying the same thing again over and over, or you can think about doing something else. I don't know, man. But either way, that's my show for today. That's all I got. I will be doing a Doom stream later while I'm high on drugs, so be sure to follow me on twitch.tv. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valerie.